over. Rockula. Alright. Now, I don't remember what year this is, so right away we're going to look it up. But it was the 80s. It has to be the 80s. If it's not, I'll be shocked. But it's got to be the 80s. Rockula. IMDb. Good old IMDb. 1990! I am mildly shocked. 1990 is basically the 80s. But I really thought it was the 80s. But again, the 1990 is basically the 80s. And okay, this movie starts off, like I was pumped when it started out because it's a really cool opening animated sequence. And I was like, okay, this is a cool animated sequence. This is exciting. I'm into it so far. But then the movie started, and it was not as good as the opening sequence. However, there are some, like, worth the price of admission moments in this film. But there's a lot of, like what, and, like, why, and, like, that's just not funny, but whatever. There's a lot of that. At least that's how I felt watching it. But, I don't know, I kind of liked it. This isn't amazing cinema by any stretch. Oh, God. No. Are we good? It was frozen for a little bit. I think we're okay. All right. The opening made me think I was watching Cry Baby. Because the cartoon opening. I always enjoy horror musicals, and that's fair. It seems like a good idea on paper. But this movie just wasn't great, but it has a lot of noteworthy things, and I feel like I have a lot to talk about with it. So let's get into it. So Rockula, 1990. First of all, Bo Diddley, blues legend, icon, debatably invented rock and roll. He is in this movie. Oh, also, does anyone want to talk about this? Has anyone seen this? If you do, the Discord, you know it's true. You can talk with me about it there. But yeah, Bo Diddley, blues legend, is in this as a supporting role. He has very few lines. He has a few, though. But he's in it, like, a fair amount. Like, in the background, he's playing guitar and stuff. But he doesn't really say that much. He says a few things. He says, one of the lines I remember specifically is, "It looks like that boy's got the blues," or something like that. "Colonel Pacifico is back, and I'm gonna shout you out, my friend. Because that's the kind of guy I am." Diddley. I'm saying diddly with too many subtitles. I mean syllables. I'm mixing up subtitles and syllables. I sent your subtitles early. I think, yeah, I saw that you sent them. I didn't look at them yet because I'm doing streaming and stuff. I'll post it when I can. Probably tomorrow, but if not, the next day. Probably tomorrow, though. Is it just Bo Diddley? Not Bo Diddley. I'm saying Bo Diddley. It's Bo Diddley. Fair enough. I like Flanders. Yeah, Diddley. I don't know. I'm trying. Diddley. Thanks for the shout out. You're welcome, Colonel. Subtitles, syllables. It's all the same word, right? No, it's not. Rockula. So yeah, Bo Diddley. It's just kind of amazing to see that he's in this fucking crazy film. So it's a vampire movie technically, and yeah, does anyone want to talk in the Discord? I'm gonna look at it again just to see if anyone no, okay, that's alright. But yeah, it's a vampire movie, but right away they throw out like a lot of pretty much all of the vampire lore out the window. Which is fine, I guess, but this isn't really, like, if you like vampire and you want to watch a vampire movie, this isn't really that much of a vampire movie. And there's not really that much horror. I feel like it's very much more into the comedy. Like, this isn't scary. This movie isn't scary at all. So glad I saw Bo Diddley. I said it wrong again, but that's okay. I can't help it. He was amazing. He said, "I have the flu, so you're not going to have as much fun as usual." but we still gonna have a lot of fun. Then proceeded to go nuts. So cool. Yeah, that is neat. Unfortunately, I would have liked to go to that show, but I wasn't allowed to because it was at Dakota Dunes Casino, and I was underage and unable to attend at the time. But I would have loved to see that. But anyway, Bo Diddley is cool, and he's like the most interesting thing about this movie, except for the rap sequence, which we're gonna talk about the rap sequence eventually, because it was insane. But North Battleford Casino. Oh, it wasn't even Dakota Dunes. This was before Dakota Dunes existed, perhaps, right? Maybe. Anyways, yeah, this movie's crazy. But yeah, the lore, the vampire lore, they throw it out the window right at the beginning. They explain that the garlic thing is bullshit. The crucifix thing is bullshit. And they do sort of a play on the mirror thing of vampires not being able to see their reflection in a mirror, except for he does see his reflection in the mirror, but his reflection is actually just him in the mirror talking to himself, and it's like a different version of himself that's just like in mirrors. And I didn't really understand this, and at the end, and I'm gonna probably spoil the end because it's so fucking weird. I have to talk about it. But yeah, I'm just like, why is he in the mirror? What is going on? And the tagline of the film is he hasn't gotten laid in 400 years, something like that, because the plot is he's trying to get together with the female lead, Mona, who apparently 400 years ago they were in love, but a pirate with a rhinestone peg leg killed her with a ham bone or something like that, and from that day forward, every 22 years she's reincarnated, and the same thing happens every night. Every 22 years on Halloween, she gets killed by a pirate with the ham bone or some shit. So he's trying to stop that from happening. That's the plot. And like I said, 400 years. He's apparently still a virgin, or he hasn't gotten laid for 400 years. That's it. He hasn't gotten laid for 400 years. But the mirror version of him is like having sex with women in the mirror, and I don't understand how that works. Like, is the mirror world is its own world? I would have liked more explanation into it. Hey Mona, yeah, that's a song in the film. Girls, same. I like that Rockula happened 10 years after Xanadu. Yeah, it's crazy that Rockula is a 90s film. Marcus drove me. I was drinking a 26 of straight whiskey. Good time. Sounds like a good time. Oh, another thing, complimenting the opening sequence, because I like the animated opening sequence. But this song, there's a few songs that feature the name Rockula in it, but I think the opening one might have been my favorite, because it had a sort of like a pun in it in a way. They were like, gonna rock you, la. Like, I like that. I kind of like that pun. I'm gonna rock you, but then they say la to create the title of the film. The mirror guy is Tyler Durden. Yeah, well, it's just Ralph again. By the way, let's look at who the fuck, because I feel like this main guy was in other stuff, but his career maybe didn't take off great. Dean Cameron. Never mind. I was trying to think. It's like, is he related to Kirk Cameron? Anyway, Dean Cameron, he's fine. Like, he's not gonna win any prizes, but he's fine. Like, as the main guy, it's like B movie acting, so it's acceptable. Bo Diddley plays a character called Axeman. Bo Diddley. I gotta try to say it right apparently, because Stevie's giving me shit for saying it wrong. Anyways, oh yeah, Tony Cox as Big Al. So this guy's in a lot of movies. I've noticed him right away. This is a sort of funny gig where his mom, Ralph's mom, they're living together, which is kind of funny because he's supposed to be 400. You'd think he would have maybe like moved out on his own, but whatever, it's fine. And his mom is just banging random dudes all the time, which is funny. But yeah, they don't eat people. They just like get blood from the bank, and he says he doesn't like blood, but they show him like getting it one time, so he has to eat it. but he can also eat food, I think, and stuff. So lots of shit is like, okay, I don't even understand. The lore is up in the air. But yeah, Big Al, you might know him, Tony Cox, as the little person in Bad Santa. And he's also in Leprechaun 2 for a bit role. He pops up in a lot of shit, actually. Everyone's all like, oh fuck, it's motherfucking that guy. He's in shit. And Rick Zumwalt, I feel like he was in Over the Top, which is the arm wrestling movie with Sylvester Stallone I reviewed a little while ago. It might have not been him, but I think it might have been him. He was another one of the men that Ralph, the main character's mom, is banging. But so, Mona in this time continuum, because like I said, she's reincarnated a bunch of times. Yeah, he likes garlic. So again, like I said, they just throw out the fucking, all the lore, which is, I don't actually have a problem with that. It's fine as long as they explain it. And they explain that enough, so it's fine. But yeah, Mona is in a band. So, and I think the band is just called Mona, which is kind of dumb. But so he wants to start his own band. They establish that he plays piano at the beginning of the movie, but then he starts playing guitar, which doesn't make fucking sense. Why wouldn't you play the instrument from the beginning of the movie? But I don't know. It's fine, I guess. He can play a lot of stuff. It's a minor nitpick, but I was like, you'd think that he would play the keys, because they established that already. But Rockula, I mean, and you have Bo Diddley playing guitar, so. Anyway, there's the sound mixing in this, or like the dubbing or whatever, the way the sound is put in is weird. Because there's a part, and I literally thought that they were gonna like stop and be like, oh my god, Mona's lip syncing. Because like the music is playing and she's not moving her lips at one point. But I think that's just a fuck up in the edit, because no one gives a shit in the movie. Because in real life if that happened, people were like, what the fuck? But right away I was like, that doesn't seem right. And there's a few times, it never seems like people are actually singing the songs. But, you know, that's not that big of a deal, but it's noteworthy, I'd say. But yeah, Rockula. Let's get back into the IMDb page. And I haven't talked about the rap sequence yet, but I want to save that because it's fucking funny. Let's look at the box office return. This is a Canon film. You don't know about Canon. Oh, it doesn't know what the box office... What the box office is, but it's a budget, 1,500, I mean, $1.5 million. So that's like a small budget. But who knows what they made on it. Canon, yeah, I love Canon. They made so many terrible but fun movies. But yeah, okay, let's talk about the rap sequence. So, the movie is called Rockula. And the vampire, I guess he's sort of called Rockula too eventually. And you know, they established that they play rock and roll music. So, you know, that makes enough sense. But then, all of a sudden, he's Rapula and he's doing an 80s rap song. Or I guess it's technically 90s rap because it's 1990, but it, you know, it's basically 80s rap. But it's bad, but it made me laugh so hard. First of all, because I wasn't expecting it. Second of all, because some of the lines are outrageously bad and very funny. One that I remember specifically is he does something like this. Like, I was with a girl and I think her name was Nina. She was nice to me, wanted to get on my wiener. He rhymed Nina with Weena or something like that. Pretty hilarious. The 89s, the golden age of hip hop. That's right. Oh fuck! I love you guys. Thanks for watching. The Rockula. So they have the rap sequence, and they end every verse with a rhyme. With a word that ends with ire, so they can go to the chorus and rhyme it with "He's the vampire. I'm the vampire." Oh, it's so silly. You know, there's another thing that I must mention that's just bizarre. Stanley, who's sort of the villain, I guess, he's in love with Mona, and he's told by his psychic to dress up like a pirate and kidnap Mona, and he's like, and he runs, I don't know how else to describe this other than an amusement park / funeral home. It is what it is. It's kind of funny, I guess, but it's weird. And they established that cryogenic freezing is something that they offer at his park or whatever. So he wants to cryogenically freeze her. And yeah, so they can be together forever, which also doesn't make sense how he was convinced of that so easily, because he can't really be with her when he's frozen like that. I don't know, it was kind of dumb, but you know, it's one of those movies where you just gotta let it slide. And another thing that I want to mention, there's a lot to fucking dig into with this movie, but I talked about the mirror version of Ralph before, and it's super weird. But the mirror version of Ralph at the end, he's alone because Ralph is off frolicking with Mona or whatever. You know, it's the end of the movie. I don't think that's spoiler. They fucking get together. What do you fucking think is gonna happen? Because the vampire's the good guy in this movie. Was that the twist? No, not really. The twist for me, well, there is a real twist, but I'm not gonna ruin that. And it wasn't that good anyway. But I still don't want to ruin that. But at the end of the film, Ralph, the mirror version, is alone in the dressing room in the mirror, and he's like, "What the fuck? I want to get out of here." So he smashes the mirror and comes out. So now he's in the real world supposedly, and not only is it him, but 3 beautiful African American women come out with him, and they start doing a rock song. It's such a weird way to end it. I was just flabbergasted. They could have ended it before that and not even had that scene. But to be fair, it was kind of funny, but I was more so just jaw dropped, like, what is going on? But I am now finally, I think, starting to run out of things to talk about with this. I didn't even say what it got. I didn't say what the last thing got. This is a 5.2 on IMDb, which isn't terrible. I think this maybe has a mild cult following. I heard about this in the Civic TV 83 Twitch chat. They were talking about their favorite vampire movies, and somebody said, well, obviously the best vampire movie is Rockula. And I could tell they were being sarcastic. As soon as I looked it up, I was like, is this really the best vampire movie? And it's not, but it was kind of fun, and I am glad I watched it, because it was, like, specifically my favorite part, the rap sequence made me laugh so hard. It was dumb, but very silly, and it was funny, and I liked it. But hey, this is the end of this review, I think, and then we're going to get into the rap segment, but I'm going to do a quick plug. If you want to support the Wackadoodle Extravaganza Extreme Edition, please consider giving booty bucks to the challenge, the community challenge in the rewards section. But yeah, here we go. I'm going to put on a beat. This is, let's go. This is the new Drake instrumental from Patrick Swankins. Alright. So, I'm going to give this movie, to me, this is fair. Honestly, I would have given it lower if it weren't for the hip-hop sequence. The hip-hop sequence, it sort of saved this movie for me. I'm going to give it a solid 5.6. I feel good about that. This movie isn't great, but it's not the worst thing ever. They made a fucking movie. Lots of shit doesn't make sense. But that's okay. 5.6 out of 10 Dougs for Rockula. Like I said, the rap sequence is worth the price of admission alone. If you're into it, check it out. If you're not, then don't. And that's okay. But it is on Tubi, as is Wishmaster if you want to check it out. So that again is Rockula. 5.6 out of 10 Dougs. Alright.